What's up, YouTube? My name's David. There have been a lot of controversies happening in the beatboxing world over the past few years, and they've kind of come to a head in the last few months. There have been some bad things happening, and as fans and supporters and beatboxers alike, you all deserve to know as much as you possibly can. And not to segue into my next video already, but aside from the allegations and potentially dangerous people in the beatboxing world that you need to know about, another big problem is lack of transparency from large organizations like Swiss Beatbox and people that are in the know like these guys, as you'll soon find out. In this video, I will give you as much information as I possibly can about the Thomas Acre situation, allegations against him, quotes from people from all around the world about the guy, and well, these two guys, and what I think about what they had to say about him. So without any further ado, let's get this thing rolling. Hey YouTube, Editor David here. Sorry to interrupt this guy, but there are a couple things I need to make very clear before I really dig into this video. For starters, there are a lot of stories and things you're going to hear said about Thomas Acre in this video that are allegations, and they need to be taken as such. They are not proven to be fact in court. Many of them are alleged crimes that Thomas allegedly committed, and because they are considered crimes, we can't say they happened publicly without really solid proof and basically verification in court. So it's very important to understand that they are allegations at this point and nothing more. This video is plainly to educate and create transparency. A lot of you are probably wondering, like, why are you making this video about this giant beatboxing conspiracy? You're hardly a beatboxer, you're barely in the community. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why. In the giant glass house that is the beatboxing community, I'm kind of like in the entranceway. At the same time, I'm pretty well connected. I hear about a lot of things, I get a lot of information on a lot of things, and I'm sitting here at home with this information, seeing people with the same information either intentionally mislead you, all in the name of making money and getting views. At the same time, I'm seeing an even larger group not say anything at all and try to sweep the whole situation under the rug because it makes them look really bad. These things to me are both unacceptable, especially because these two sources are basically where 90% of the information in the beatboxing community comes from. The goal of this video is transparency so that all of you out there, fans, beatboxers alike, can take in all of the information, all the allegations, all the context, all the perspective and opinions of other people as well surrounding the Thomas Acre situation and judge for yourself. I have no reason to bias you. I wanted to find the truth about this story, so I dug and dug. I researched a bunch about the situation online. I interviewed over 12 people. I translated a lot of stuff because it's mostly in Spanish. I read through a court document or two. I did a lot of work here, so you don't have to. Lastly, probably most importantly, absolutely do not go to Tomas's page, his YouTube, or anything like that. Do not go and harass him. Do not go and comment bad things. Same with Shazam and Sin, same with Swiss Beatbox. Don't harass these people. None of that, okay? If anything, leave them alone. Ignore them. Forget they were relevant. I think that's all I need to say here to cover myself so I don't get sued. Sit tight because this is going to be a lengthy video. It needs to be. This is the case of the Chilean superstar Thomas Acre and his descent into controversy. Let's get this video rolling. As I mentioned, and as many of you know, one of the biggest controversies in the beatboxing world right now revolves around the beatboxer named Thomas Acre from Chile and the multiple serious allegations that have come out online against him. To understand the complexity of the situation, you need a little context on the beatboxer himself, Thomas Acre, and a couple other things that are happening in the beatboxing world right now. Thomas Acre is unarguably the biggest beatboxer to ever come out of Chile. His dark, grimy, and gritty style, combined with his heavy, unique bass techniques, really took the beatboxing world by storm over the past few years. He's done pretty well in a few online tournaments, and he has earned multiple showings at the biggest stage in beatboxing, which is the Grand Beatbox Battle hosted by Swiss Beatbox in Poland. But because of recent controversies and serious allegations being thrown against him, his name is tarnished. Beatbox Chile has banned him, Beatbox Argentina has banned him, Swiss Beatbox has removed his videos, and the vast majority of professional beatboxers in the scene are not associating with him at all. Well, that was the case until a couple weeks ago. Shazam and Sin are basically household names in the beatboxing community. They have been beatboxing and creating content for a long time. They have a very popular YouTube channel which primarily revolves around beatboxing reaction videos. They did something exciting recently and announced this BBU online tournament. It built a lot of hype and excitement with good reason. That reason being they were actually going to pay competitors a lot of money. This is huge because Swiss Beatbox, the largest organization in beatboxing, the one that hosts Grand Beatbox Battle every year, the one that has billions of YouTube videos, pays their competitors nothing, which is something we will discuss in the next video. Anyways, this BBU tournament hosted by Shazam and Sin was a great thing, but then they did this.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back
to another statement.
Statement.
To another
statement.
statement.
Yes.
The reaction comes afterwards. But
okay,
you're probably wondering, why are these guys promoting someone who is accused as a rapist? And why are they reacting to their videos? Why is he allowed to compete when he's banned from all other beatbox channels and platforms all over the world? We have to say, we can no longer stay silent.
Yes.
There is information out there that is known by a few entities, also
basically
entities,
all the important people involved in this case, not only us.
Evidence that what was publicly told by the survivor is not true. The official story is not true. There were false information on which also people did things to Tomasz or blamed him for things that he did that are not true by the knowledge we have right now. And I know this seems weird, but we have to come out now because BBU is right around the corner. And at this point, we see no reason why he shouldn't be allowed to compete in our competition.
Yes.
This is not easy for us, but we have the information and we can't no longer silence Tomasz Hakre and destroy his career over something that didn't happen.
And we have to make this video again because we stand by the morals we stated in our statement.
Yes.
So yeah, this has to be said. There's evidence that he's innocent, so we cannot support the cancellation of Tomasz.
And even in a situation where it's just accusations floating around, for us, cancellation is already a too drastic step. But now it goes even further than, less than accusation, because there's proof that he didn't do it. And I can also see that a lot of participants and future participants of the BBU will be shocked by the statement or don't really understand because they don't have the certain insights. But feel free to talk to us. We can't talk to everyone because this is also private information. It's not our job to give this out to the public. But if one of the participants who qualifies for the top 16 or is a 17 or 18 or 19 place that possibly can still go into the competition, you can talk to us if you feel uncomfortable. Also, if you have a wildcard out there right now and feel super uncomfortable with the situation, you can write us, you can talk to us. We are here to clear the situation, to talk to everyone. And we don't want to make it like public and flashy and we know stuff you don't know. But at this point, we really need to give Tomasz Hakre the chance to compete again in beatbox battles.
Yes.
Because there's no reason to not do it.
It is just fair for him as a human being.
So
that's all the words we needed to say. And now enjoy the video.
Yeah, now enjoy the reaction to Tomasz Hakre's wildcard.
Let me be clear. This statement is incredibly misleading and obviously fueled by the incentive of getting more views and promoting a celebrity for their tournament to generate more views to generate more money. And overall, it is destructive. And these aren't just my opinions. So let's pick apart their statement a little bit. First of all, this must be a re-upload because the first time I watched this video, the moment it came out, I clearly remember them saying something about screenshot being their burden of proof as to why this guy's innocent. In this version, they don't talk about it. So I'm not really sure what happened, but this is definitely a re-upload. However, the sentiment is the same. They say basically the same thing. There was something else I was going to address that they said, but I cannot remember it. I hope by the time I edit this, I remember what it was. Okay, I did remember what I wanted to say. In the original upload of this video, they not only mentioned a screenshot, but they mentioned that Tomasz was still in court, but don't worry guys, he's winning. Which they must have realized is a really stupid thing to say to a bunch of people you're trying to convince that a guy is innocent. In their re-upload, they just conveniently left out the part where he's still in court. So I thought that was interesting. And one more thing, winning in court, that is just propaganda. That is total lip service. It's completely baseless. You can't be winning in court, okay? You either win or you lose. Anyways, let's continue. Let's pick apart their statement a little bit. They said, and I quote, "There is information out there that is known by a few entities. Evidence that was publicly told by the survivor is not true. Things on the official story were not true. Also, there were people that did things to Tomasz, blamed him for things that are not true by the knowledge we have right now." In reality, they're trying to frame themselves as heads of authority in the situation by saying things like, there's information that we have that only a few people have, or we can't make this information public, or we can't talk to you all about this because it's private information and it's not our job to make it public. The information about the Poland situation is well known by the vast majority of the professional beatboxing community. Their burden of proof that they referenced in the original upload is a screenshot from a conversation between the girl, the victim from Poland, and another professional beatboxer, which eventually got sent to Tomasz, which is how it got spread around. Lots of beatboxers have seen this screenshot. And since they didn't actually show it to you, I will. right here. Now, for obvious reasons, I blurred out the girl's name, and I also blurred out somebody else's name that doesn't need to be mentioned in this video. I'm going to keep going now, so if you want to read the whole thing, just pause it. In this girl's original claim, which was obviously talked about privately between some people and also posted about on the Me Too Beatbox page, she apparently says she was R-worded. Not sure if I can say that on YouTube without being demonetized in this video, so I won't. Abused, coerced, etc. But in this screenshot, she admits that Tomas didn't fully go through with R-wording her. Okay, very interesting. Let's take note of that and be critical about it. Shazam and Sin have this screenshot because when Tomas got a hold of it, he sent it around to a bunch of beatboxers, basically as his plea of innocence, saying, look, this girl was lying. This means I'm innocent now. The thing is, though, if Tomas is legitimizing this screenshot, if he's using it as his burden of innocence or burden of proof and saying it is legit, you know, the message is true, he's also admitting to allegedly abusing or coercing or still putting her in a situation that she obviously didn't want to be in. These two guys didn't show you this screenshot intentionally because it doesn't prove Tomas's innocence. It's damning to both parties. Now here's the real kicker. The real reason myself and the vast majority of the beatboxing community are pretty disappointed with Shazam and Sin right now. This Poland incident is not the only allegation. It's not one of two. It's not one of 3, 4, 5. No, it's one of at least 7 publicly available allegations against Tomas online right now. Why didn't they mention these other allegations in their video? Is it because they're silly or disproven? No, it's because when you take one allegation against a person, present it like it's the only one, and then disprove it using some very, very weak evidence, it looks pretty good for the person you're trying to defend. But when you take all the allegations, at least 7 of them, and put them together, it looks pretty bad. And I already know one potential way Shazam and Sin can respond to this video. They could say, oh wow, we didn't know about all that evidence and all those other allegations. At face value, this would be a lie. Because as I mentioned a moment ago, they have seen all these other allegations. I know they have. Not only that, but they have had even more evidence, more information presented to them on a silver platter, which they willfully refused before uploading this video. In the middle of January, Shazam contacted a Beatbox Safe Space member and asked for the list, which is the blacklist, which is a list of beatboxers that are being actively monitored because of allegations and things of the sort. He asked for this for his BBU event that he was putting on. A couple days later, he asked if Tomas is still on the list after those screenshots came out from the girl in Poland. The Safe Space member then responded that he has 7 more allegations and is still in court, so he would stay on that list at least until the court case is done, probably longer. Shazam then proceeded to ask, so people can be kicked out from making beatbox videos and being part of the community because of allegations only? Which, pause from this conversation for a second, I think is a totally asinine question given the context that people know about. The answer to that should be an absolute resounding yes. Anyways, let's keep going. The Safe Space member then proceeded to explain to him how the list works, how risk assessment is necessary for event organizers, and offered him a call to learn more about the list and maybe even why Tomas is still on there. Shazam declined, saying he finds a discussion about this useless as long as important info is kept from the public, which is incredibly ironic given the fact that the video Shazam and Sin released didn't give any more information to the public about the situation. They told you about the existence of this information, but they didn't actually share it with you. The screenshot, with good reason, to be honest, because taken as a whole, this screenshot does not prove what they were claiming it proves. It is painfully clear that these two are not interested in an unbiased truth or change as they proclaimed in this video. Rather, they're trying to cover up somebody's terrible history in the name of getting more views and making more money by promoting this tournament they're putting on. Ask yourself, did you hear them say anything about defending Tomas prior to this tournament? These 7 other allegations have been well known since they started coming out last summer through last fall. Not only that, but Tomas is still banned in Beatbox Chile and Argentina. So what about this? Well, as you will learn throughout this video and the next one, the change the beatboxing community needs is where people in power and influence hold bad and potentially dangerous people accountable instead of covering up for them because they are either their friends or their cash cow. Okay, enough about these two. What they have done is destructive, as evidenced by hordes of their fans saying things like this. Now let's talk about Tomas. Let's pick apart his allegations and listen to some quotes from over 12.5 professional beatboxers that have spent time with him from all around the world. From what I've learned by talking to beatboxers in Chile, there have been a slew of complaints against Tomas, ranging from women allegedly being emotionally and physically abused to younger beatboxers being allegedly harassed and picked on for years. It really came to a head in the summer of 2021 when enough complaints were presented to Beatbox Chile for them to step in. On June 30th, 2021, Beatbox Chile officially banned Tomas Acre from all community events. Argentina soon followed suit. After Beatbox Chile came out with this statement, allegations started coming out online about Tomas Acre from the Chilean community on the page called Gata Fuego. Thankfully, they were also translated by this page, Let It All Out of My Mind. Big shout out to whoever that is. I think that honestly made a world of difference in this situation for getting the information out there. Now we're going to go over the allegations that were originally posted on Gata Fuego. If you want to read them, which I suggest you do, pause the video and comb through them. What I'm going to do is point out which ones come from which posts. That way you know how many different girls we're talking about here. Let's keep in mind that this is stuff that's posted online on a page. This is not proven to be a legitimate screenshot, so please take it as an allegation. This first one describes a situation where a girl had a sexual encounter with him and she agreed to have sex, but only if he used a condom, but he disregarded her and didn't use one anyways. On another occasion, he got angry when they got home and she told him that basically she wanted to leave to avoid the situation altogether, but he locked her in his room and locked the house with the keys and hid them. From the same person, she also quoted to say that it happened many times where they were having sex and she told him she didn't want to keep going, but he just kept going until he finished anyways. The next set of posts deals with a similar scenario. Apparently she kept saying no and telling him not to continue, but he did anyways, making excuses for himself. If legit, this conversation is super telling and terrible. Tomas says, abuse? When did I abuse you? The girl responds, when I told you to stop in more than one occasion, but you didn't because it felt good. That's abuse. He responds saying, well, I'm sorry for having done that to you. Let's pause for a second. I went back and double checked the translation, and that is exactly what he says in the message, if the message is true. And I mean, so the first thing he's admitting to is abuse, allegedly. But then he follows it up with an extremely manipulative tactic by saying, look, I did this bad thing to you, but after it happened, you know, I said I was sorry and I made you feel better. So it's all good, right? The next screenshot is probably from a different part in their conversation where he says, do you want that? Do you want me to get accused? Answer me. And she says, leave me alone. Then he doesn't. I don't know if you want to call that harassment, but he says, just answer that question, please. Do you want that? Do you want to ruin my life now? Me ruin your life? Why did we break up? So this is relationship stuff, to be honest. But the next one is very interesting given the context of what I'm going to show you later in this video. I'm pretty sure where he says, do you know why this happened? He's referring to Beatbox Chile and Argentina banning him. He follows that up by saying, because you started posting things on your IG and who knows what else you did. And that's why this could happen now, which is why I ask, is that what you want? She says, yes, because I said what happened, and no, because you're an ill person. Then he says, but what did I do to you right now? Tell me, what did I do to you now? No, because you're a pathological liar. For this next one, we're going to jump back to Gata Fuego because it's not translated on the Let It All Out of My Mind page. I have a feeling it was, but it probably got deleted. It's a little bit confusing. The first two slides are of one of Tomas's exes confronting him with screenshots of a girl saying basically that he cheated on her. Not only that, but the rest of the messages that are shown are of a girl claiming, allegedly, that her friend got hit by Tomas and that he is a violent, manipulative person, which is interesting. I translated the whole thing, and basically the girl is saying, I can't give away a lot of information because I don't want to break someone's trust, but my friend, his ex, told me that she got hit by him and was manipulated by him a lot and abused, basically. And the girl that is receiving these messages is a girl that at the time was dating Tomas and was very concerned because she was saying, how do I know this is true? I'm literally going to hang out with him like later today, and now I'm worried. So far, we're at two different people alleging things against him. Okay, keep that straight. Okay, this next one is pretty graphic and awful. It's another allegation, of course. Again, I'm not going to read the stories verbatim because they're pretty nasty. So here, go ahead and pause this and read it, and pause this and read it. From the same girl. These are screenshots she took of an alleged conversation she had with Tomas, which is just him straight up objectifying her. Oh, by the way, she is pretty young in this. I'm not sure how old Tomas was. I think I read in one of these comments that he's like 17 in this. So it's not as terrible as it potentially could be, because apparently this happened a while ago. And somebody also says in the comments that, did this all happen in Chile? Because if so, the national law says that the age of 14 is the legal age of consent, which is disappointing to say the least. This next one is pretty minimal, I guess you could say, compared to the others. It basically is saying that Tomas is a friend of a guy that I also knew who was also accused of bad things. She also said that Tomas would send pictures to a group of people of pretty girls on top of him, which I think she says while they were together. Not a super bad one, but it's just kind of gross. I mean, depending on the context, there may or not be anything criminal in that allegation, but if it's true, it says a lot about that type of person, because growing up, we all knew that one guy, you know, had a little bit of game for one reason or another, but he was a total slimeball because he would take pictures with girls or screenshot pictures of girls that they would send to him, and then he would share them with all of his friends. That guy? Yeah, that guy. So that's number 4. The next allegation starts off with a screenshot of a conversation allegedly between Tomas and a girl, where she's confronting him about not using a condom while having sex. He says, but what if it did happen? You took the risk. Regardless of that, you should be more responsible with me because I really asked you to stop. Okay, she's also saying that she asked him to stop while they were having sex, but he didn't. And then it's showing him use the same manipulative language that he used in a different conversation that we went over a few minutes ago. And then he says some really disgusting stuff. I think it's interesting to take a look at how detailed these screenshots are. If you're one of the people that's like, oh, all of these screenshots must be fake. I mean, if they faked it, they went to the length of even putting in this little notification saying escribiendo under the person's name, which is assumed to be or allegedly Tomas, which means typing or writing. So she was obviously mid-conversation with him when she took this screenshot. Just wanted to point that out. But again, these are all allegations. The rest of the post is basically this girl from the screenshot conversation having another conversation with an ex at the time. So 2 different people that have been involved with him talking to each other. The girl says, disgusting, who the hell did I get involved with? And the initial girl responds saying, he never let me use it in the entire relationship, and he cheated on me with the Russian girl in Poland. It's disgusting to think about it all. Then she says, are you messing with me? How did you find out? She says, I caught him through text messages that he had with her for months. That's when this whole crisis started, and he went to the psychologist because of guilt, something in which I don't believe anymore, but I forgave him. And just to be fair, just to tie up some loose ends here, I think the interesting thing here is the Russian girl is mentioned in Poland and him cheating on a girlfriend with this girl before GBB 2021. Okay, this is important because I've seen some, like, you call them naysayers, saying things like, well, maybe it was just a miscommunication between Tomas and the girl in Poland. Tomas is from Chile, his native language is Spanish, the Russian girl is from Russia and her native language is Russian, and, you know, speaking English together, maybe he thought she consented, yada yada. I'm not going to extrapolate too much and start guessing at what happened, but to potentially explain that situation or give some context to it at the very least. Tomas and the Russian girl that he had an incident with in Poland had a lot of history together and definitely knew how to communicate at the very least. Again, these are all allegations, these are all things to keep in mind, but it's important to put together the timeline in a clean manner like this. And to finish, this whole one was allegation number 5. Okay, this last allegation is a little bit messy because of how it was translated, and some people called that out in the comments saying, this must be fake because the translation doesn't make any sense. But I think I know what the message is trying to say, and as you'll see, there is allegedly a conversation of messages from Tomas where he actually references this situation after it happened. I will show you those in a second. But anyways, the message basically says, one day he took me back to my house. I live in a building where you have to go up the elevator. The thing is that we had to go up the stairs because the elevator was bad. Then she says, he tried to abuse me in the elevator and I tried to leave, but he grabbed me harder and he lifted up my skirt and clearly tried to penetrate me. What I think she's trying to say here is that they got to the building, they went in the elevator. While they were in there, he allegedly tried to force himself on her, but they realized the elevator wasn't working, so she tried to leave. They ended up taking the stairs to go up. That's one take. Perhaps she also didn't mean in the elevator. She might have meant in the stairs, which would make even more sense because of the alleged message from Tomas that I'm about to show you. He does reference, the situation in the stairs. So, and a lot of the comments are downing it. This is important to know because, when you don't translate things properly, when you don't make things 100% transparent, and actually this translation is claiming allegedly rape when the girl never said that. She claimed something that was abuse or sexual assault, which is totally different. Not good, but totally different. But because of that mistranslation, the comments are all like fake, this is sus, etc., etc. It delegitimizes your claims, so don't do that. Get it right, please. However, reading on, the girl goes on to say that he would send me messages on Facebook telling me, well, a lot of things. I will pause them so you can read them. I'm not going to read all of them. Basically, Yeah, he is just being really creepy, like really creepy. Again, please take these screenshots as allegations. He just goes on and on and on with no response. And one very interesting thing that is like very oddly specific is that the whole elevator scenario where this girl alleges that he sexually assaulted her, he is referring to as something that he enjoyed in these messages. So if all of these messages are true and these screenshots are true, then, you know, yeah, that's not good. I've seen some people call Tomas the P word because, quote from this comment, important note, Tomas was 15 then. It doesn't excuse the sexual, physical, mental abuse, which he should still pay for, but he is not a child predator from these messages, which I totally agree with. You know, hold him accountable. It is important to get all these things out there, but it's very important to get them all out there accurately and not stretch the truth or not stretch the claims, okay? Because when you do that, it delegitimizes what you're saying. Yeah, that was allegation number 6. Very disturbing, to be honest. In August of 2021, Swiss Beatbox had a storm surrounding Thomas Acre to deal with while preparing for GBB in October. Amongst all the allegations and recommendations to deny Thomas access to GBB, they had also heard a rumor about Thomas having a court date or time in court or something like that. So Swiss Beatbox messaged Tomas and asked him if he had court, if he's in court, and what the situation is. He allegedly replied saying the court case was dropped and here is a document for proof. Well, since I have this document, let's take a look at it. For starters, it's in Spanish, so I translated and read the whole thing. Yep, it is a legit court document, but it kind of doesn't really jive with the charges have been dropped statement. As a matter of fact, this document doesn't pertain at all to a case where anyone took Tomas to court. It pertains to a defamation lawsuit Tomas himself filed against one of his exes. The document claims defamation on the grounds of one of Tomas's exes posting all her allegations online and presenting them as fact, which is proper grounds for defamation. As cited in this lawsuit, she also posted some of Tomas's private information as well. I can understand the rage of a victim, but in situations like this, you have to be smart with how you proceed. Because if you're not, somebody can slap a defamation lawsuit on you like this pretty easily. Okay, this is getting a little complex. Let's go back through the timeline of events a little bit to make sense of this whole situation and this lawsuit. It's not super important, but for the sake of context, it's helpful to understand everything. In the spring and early summer of 2021, Beatbox Chile started receiving a lot of complaints and allegations about Tomas. On June 30th, they officially banned him from the community. The next day, on July 1st, Gata Fuego started posting allegations on Instagram. Those are the ones that we went through. At this point, I'm sure Tomas was furious to say the least, as GBB was right around the corner and he was trying to grow his image to grow his music career. On July 5th, he formalized this defamation lawsuit against his ex. Now, I don't see anywhere in this document where it says this defamation lawsuit was dropped. However, I have heard from a couple sources that that's what happened. Also, the allegations on Gata Fuego would certainly have to be removed if this lawsuit was followed through with or a deal was made of some sort. For what it's worth, I can only think of a couple reasons somebody would drop a defamation charge in this instance. Reason 1, the two parties made amends and shook hands and kissed and made up, which I'm just gonna take a guess and say that's not the case. Reason 2, Tomas's lawyer is pretty intelligent and had him use the defamation suit as a front to hush the alleged victims temporarily. However, they realized by doing so, they actually increased the chance that at least one of the alleged victims will take Tomas to court. Slight foreshadowing right there. For example, if you take girl A to court for defamation and you lose, you're setting the groundwork for an extremely strong case for whatever girl A is claiming you did to her. Because if she wins the defamation case, she's essentially proving her claim true. And if one claim wins, you can guarantee the floodgates would open for essentially all the rest of them. Not super important in retrospect, but an interesting topic to understand nonetheless. Okay, one quick note here. I'm not actually sure he dropped this defamation charge at all. I haven't seen anything that actually says he did. I just found this online on Reddit. Shout out Reddit. It's a screenshot of an Instagram story that Tomas posted a few months ago. I remember reading this, but I don't remember when it was, although it was after GBB. And in it, he says a lot of things, but he says, I'm sued and I sued the person behind me, so now I'm getting investigated. At the same time, in March of 2022, I have another audience and I'm the victim on that one. So that sounds like a situation, like a defamation situation where he is claiming he's the victim of defamation. So I'm not sure if that's the case from all the way back in July that he filed, or if it's another defamation case. Not really sure. Anyways, so when Tomas replied to SBX in August, he didn't lie about not having court because of the timing, but 1 month later, on September 15th, a violación lawsuit was formalized against him. That is, a rape lawsuit. The first court date was to be October 1st, 2021, which is right before GBB, like a week and a half. So, do you think Tomas updated Swiss with this information? Since, just a few weeks prior, they had made it clear that they wanted to know if he had court. Take a guess. Do you think he stayed behind in Chile and went to court instead of going to GBB? Obviously, we know the answer to that. Somehow, nothing terrible came from him leaving the country and skipping his first court date, because when he got back, all that happened was it was reassigned to November 5th. Anyways, to circle back, because Swiss went to the ends of the earth to avoid taking action on Tomas when an undeniable number of warning signs told them to, they ended up letting a guy with an active rape case into Poland to compete on the GBB stage, hang out with the fans, party with everyone there, who were all mostly unknowing of the situation because nobody told them. Their scapegoat for plausible deniability, this court document, is actually a straw man. They want you to focus on the fact that when they asked him if he had court, he answered honestly, given the timing, and said no. The reality of the situation is, it never should have gotten that far in the first place. The moment Beatbox Chile recommended to ban Tomas until further notice, they should have dug deep into the situation and trusted the word of an entire country's community. But as you'll find out in my next video, and videos that are going to be released by a number of other important people very soon, this slimy attempt at sweeping another situation under the rug is very in character for Swiss Beatbox and its CEO. A Swiss Beatbox associate told me that Andreas Paponi responded to Beatbox Chile by saying our policy for banning someone is based on charges only. If you're a CEO of a company that decides who gets to be around a bunch of young, innocent, and impressionable fans, and your defense is, well, we'll do something when they have charges against them. That is spineless. That is so incredibly weak, because what you're doing is putting the responsibility on the victims, the people that are forming the allegations. You're saying, I'm not going to do anything. These people need to spend their money, spend their time, spend their mental energy to prove this person is guilty for me to even consider not letting this person come to a competition. What he should have done is use common sense, realized, I wonder why the Chileans don't like this guy. I wonder why they banned him. I wonder why all these allegations are coming out. Maybe he's potentially a danger, and I shouldn't let him around my fans and the fellow competitors, especially the women. That's not what he did though. Andreas decided to look the other way. Instead of protecting the fans, he protected Tomas and his brand and his profits. This is not the only time he's done this, and I have a lot of evidence and statements to prove that claim, but I will save that story for the next video. Anyways, to wrap up the history until now, Tomas goes to Poland and, well, you know the story. At the very least, he allegedly puts yet another girl in a sexual situation that she did not want to be in. After GBB 2021, a page called Me Too Beatbox also started posting allegations from people, both men and women actually, of times they were sexually abused, assaulted, or even R-worded at GBB and other beatboxing events over the past couple of years. Just to clarify though, not all these allegations are about Tomas, but I know for a fact at least 2 of them are. To be honest, it felt a little hypocritical for me to make this video without ever meeting Tomas in person, so I felt it was important to interview as many people as possible, professional beatboxers and others that have actually had personal experiences with him. I also thought it was very important to talk to some Chilean beatboxers to get their perspective of him, as they probably know him better than anybody else. These first few quotes are from Chilean beatboxers. 90% of Chilean beatboxing fans don't like him because they can tell he's not a good guy. The other 10% are most likely 10-year-olds that don't know any better. In the same Discord call, another Chilean beatboxer replied to that saying, yeah, definitely. And I would say about 99% of Chilean beatboxers hate him because they really know what kind of guy he is. That is why he was banned from the Chilean beatboxing community. The first person replied saying, it is hard to see the truth when you're from another country, but in Chile, it's easy for us to see the truth about this guy and all the creepy things he has done and said to women. I can tell you he is a creepy guy. This next message was sent to me in English, but I could tell that it was translated through Google, I'm pretty sure, from Spanish. He was always very criticized for his way of being or for his style of beatbox. His indifference towards the new beatboxers that were just starting began to generate discomfort in the rest of the members of the community, to the point where in his participation in the 2019 GBB, he had half of Chile supporting him and the other half despising him. I began to receive messages of certain information that I found terrible and embarrassing, allegedly. First, it was Tomas's harassment of minors, then, allegedly, violence with his ex-girlfriend after other women who suffered manipulation and lies from him. And I began to investigate a little more with a WhatsApp group that had a blacklist, where Tomas was in the front row. I spoke to Beatbox Chile and asked them to block this person from the community until they find out exactly what happened. It was a potential danger. Fortunately, they listened to me, and then Argentina joined. I know they sent messages to Swiss Beatbox not to take Tomas to Poland, but they didn't listen. Then, another accusation against Tomas Akre occurred in Poland, and an Instagram also appeared where Tomas had at least 7 serious accusations. There are too many to do nothing. I used to be friends with Tomas, but this year at GBB, he was weird, man. I watched him ask a girl to while they were in public in front of a bunch of people, and when she said no, he cussed her out and then stormed off. This story sounds crazy, but 2 different people told me this exact story. It's apparent there were a number of beatboxers there that saw what happened and were equally as stunned as I'm sure you are right now. I was outside a hotel drinking and smoking in a small group with Tomas. He was hanging around this girl a lot, giving her weed and plenty to drink. He asked her multiple times to come up to his room to get more drugs and drink more with him. It didn't seem like any of my business at the time. I don't know what happened, if the girl stayed with him or not. I left. But now after hearing all the allegations about him, I feel a lot more uncomfortable about it. When I found out he was being allowed to compete at GBB, I decided not to go because I don't feel comfortable around him, and I was also very disappointed in Swiss Beatbox for letting that happen. When I walked into the lobby on one of the first days of GBB, I saw Tomas there, and my friend said, "Yo, is he even supposed to be here?" He is extremely narcissistic, always trying to flex on you and saying inappropriate things. After spending only 3 days with him at GBB, you learn pretty quickly what kind of person he is. Now, legally, I have to remind you that everything in this video is an allegation. Don't go around saying Tomas is this, Tomas is that. David told me to say that. No, don't do that. Don't go and, like hate spam Shazam and Sin's video or Tomas or anything like that. But that's beside the point. Where there's smoke, there's fire. How many people do you know personally, aside from this guy, that have 7 allegations against them for basically the same thing, following the same patterns and same themes of sexual assault, misconduct, coercion, using drugs and alcohol to get them to come up to your room, etc., etc.? None, right? Because good people don't get allegations like this against them, okay? Maybe, on a rare occasion, somebody might upset a girl that, is a little fanatic, and she might make up a story or something like that. But you don't get 7 people from all around the world making up the same story about one person that everybody else is saying, yeah, he's not a good dude, and I've seen him do some bad and inappropriate things, okay? So with all of this in mind, why is it so hard for some people to concede to the obvious reality of the situation? Well, aside from the fact that some fans are being lied to intentionally to mislead you or, make you believe that their golden goose is a good dude so they can make more money off of him, the answer is steak. Say, for example, 100 of us are in a game show set in a big mansion. The game is like Clue, except instead of identifying a murderer, we're looking for a thief. There's a big pile of money in the house. The faster we vote the thief out, the more money we get to keep. But the thief has the ability to steal from the pot while the game is still going. At the very beginning of the game, we all get supplied information about each of the players. We all notice one player, let's call him Tom, has nearly a dozen allegations of petty theft and burglary, and oh, by the way, he's also in court right now for bank robbery. Okay, so what do you think would happen next? It's obvious, right? Everybody is going to vote this guy out immediately. Now, aside from it being the obvious answer, why is it so simple in that situation? It's because every person in that house has the same stake involved. They all risk the same damage, the same loss if they let the thief continue to steal from the pot. No one would hide evidence. No one would try to mislead you to prove the obvious thief is an innocent guy. But in our real life situation involving Tomas Akre, the stake is different depending on who you are. If you're a young guy sitting at home saying, Tomas is innocent until proven guilty, and then you go to an event and Tomas is there, what kind of danger are you in if you're wrong? None. Tomas has 0 allegations claiming he's assaulted men or anything like that. You, young, impressionable bro, have 0 stake in the situation. So it's easy for you to allow your bias towards this beatboxing celebrity to override logic and reasoning. Obviously, for women, the situation is different. The stake is much higher. But David, you're not a woman. You don't have any stake in the situation either. So how did you come to this conclusion? It's because you shouldn't need stake in a situation to be logical and unbiased about it. Stake forces critical thinking, but lack of it doesn't mean you should do the opposite. The next time you're moshing with your bros at a beatboxing event, you're going, yo, this is lit. Where's all the ladies at though? They're at home because they don't feel comfortable around somebody there. They don't want to take the risk of becoming the next allegation. All because somebody, an event organizer, a big beatboxer, a CEO, or all of the above protected somebody that's either performing or attending the event that has lots of allegations for harming women or making them feel uncomfortable at the very least. There are a number of people in the beatboxing community still today that are continually being promoted by Swiss Beatbox and other platforms that many women in the scene that are in the know do not feel comfortable around because they have many serious allegations against them. Trust me, I really didn't want to make this video. I'm not really a fan of calling out people or causing a fuss. Generally, I'm kind of the opposite. But that collective passive behavior in a community is exactly what allows situations like this to get swept under the rug, without anything happening, without any change. The change you were all preaching about a few months ago, it's not long-winded lip services delivered by somber faces for a YouTube video. It's not quietly slapping the wrist of somebody by removing their videos from your channel. It's accountability. When you protect people that you know are potentially dangerous, and you continue to allow those people access to events, you're putting those innocent, young, naive, and impressionable fans in danger. Real-world danger. To me, that's unacceptable. I'm not interested in shifting my content to videos like this. Trust me, I've got some fun videos coming your way very soon, but because of my unique position on the very edge of the beatboxing community, in the hallway, the entranceway of this giant glass house, I feel like I have a responsibility to use my platform and my connections in the community to say things that many of those deep in the community are too connected or too scared to say because of the relationships they formed or because of who's paying their salary. The goal of this is not to defame anybody. The goal of this is not to bring people down or to destroy careers or embarrass people or anything like that. The main goal of this video is to get information out there that the public, the fans, the beatboxers deserve to have in their hands so they can make decisions about who they associate themselves with, who they should feel comfortable around. It shouldn't be something they have to sift through rumors for. It should be at their fingertips. The change you're all asking for in the beatboxing community is accountability. That accountability will bring safety, and along with it, as a repercussion, will cause some damage as well, but it's worthwhile in my opinion. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time.